Hello and welcome to a special live YouTube edition of the Big Rican on Sports podcast. I am your host. I am the Big Rican. Today is Sunday, May 31st, 2020. Yes, we have hit June 1st, and unfortunately, we still don't have baseball. And from what I'm seeing, we may not get it for a while yet. So tonight's episode, I promised a special guest, and this special guest is actually very special. Never been on the podcast before. It's a buddy of mine from my job. He lives in the Schenectady area in upstate New York. We call him El Guapo, but his real name is Steve. Steve Clark.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Oh, it's great to have you on here. I know I've been busting your chops about wanting to listen every now and again, but now I got you on here, so you contractually have to listen at least once afterwards.
I feel like this is about 5 years in the making.
So here's the cool thing about tonight, everybody, and we have a zero up there for now, but we'll have more later. I told my father. Here's the cool thing about tonight. We're going to talk about baseball in general, but we are the opposite ends of the spectrum in the state in which we live. Steve, in the upstate capital region, is a New York Yankee fan. Myself in the Hudson Valley, I'm a New York Met fan. It's the one thing him and I have gone back and forth about for the last, God, it's got to be close to 10 years.
My 13 years coming up later. 14 is this year.
I would say I'm 15 in September.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
don't blink.
Listen, the day I started, my daughter started pre-K. She turned 19 yesterday.
Yay.
Yeah. So the first question of the day is actually for you, and it's mostly because of morbid curiosity. We talked about it a minute ago. How much of a beating did you give your son on Mario Kart today, taking your revenge from over the last week?
All right. So I don't know how familiar everybody is or yourself is with the scoring format on Mario Kart, but when you do the Cup series of 4 races, you get a certain amount of points for first through, I think it's 15th, and max points is first 15 points for first place. You do the math, perfect score is 60. I've dropped 60 on him back to back ever since he beat me the other day. So I've regained my man status in my house.
That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing.
I tell you, the day, like, I've let him beat me in things before. He has never beaten me in anything where I didn't let him beat me in, and I wasn't expecting it. Everybody says, like, oh, yeah, it's a good feeling. That means he's growing up. You taught him well. I felt like garbage. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think about anything. Nah.
That's because you and I come from the generation where you earned a trophy, not where you were getting one.
No, I got on the sticks, learned the levels he learned, and then beat the brakes off of him.
See, I'm the exact opposite of the spectrum. My kid got an Xbox, which I actually just got one recently, and he brought over Madden. And he's like, oh, I've been practicing. I'm going to play with the Giants back when it was still Eli and Odell and them. And I took the Browns of Johnny Manziel and absolutely nothing and beat him by 3 touchdowns. And in the third quarter, I said, are you done?
I remember quick story on Madden. Back in college, we used to bring a Madden system, set up a game in the student lobby section. It's part of the reason why I failed out of college the first time. I used to play. I'm not a Pittsburgh Steelers fan at all, but Jerome Bettis used to be a cheat code in that game. Not because he was so nasty, but if you gave him the ball every time, halfback dive up the middle, he guaranteed at least 3 yards. And I used to pound the ball up the gut, run the clock. I used to have dudes trying to fight me because I was taking the clock down to the last second in the first half, just milking it.
You were one of those players? See, I'm the air attack guy. I'm throwing the ball every down.
I had people so mad. People really wanting to fight me. I'm not fighting you over Madden, but
Nice. So let's get into the crux of the thing tonight. The topic. We are both. I think the two of us, baseball is our big thing. It's the game we grew up with. It's the game we love. We love our teams to almost a fault. I mean, you married a Red Sox fan, so your devotion to the Yankees has got to be insane.
I was looking forward to this year because of all that. Because the Yankees, you throw one of the best pitchers in the ball game on a team that's got one of the best offenses in the game. They were, I don't know, you can't guarantee a World Series, but they were stacked. And then Boston on the other end of the spectrum was probably going to be the worst team in the league. I feel like I'm being deprived of all that crap talking in the house. It's a bummer.
I would have to say that I am on your side. I believe you are being deprived of all the crap talking that you could be doing.
Absolute
And
bummer.
with me, you're talking about my boys coming off the big year from the Polar Bear.
Yeah.
And yes, I wore that shirt just because he beat Aaron Judge out. The big year from the Polar Bear. You got another year of McNeil. Cespedes is back, and that pitching was just coming into its own. And now we're sitting here and we're like, are we even going to get a season? So how much younger are you than me?
I am 36.
Okay, so you're 5 years younger than me. So we're in the same realm where 1994 did not do anything for either of us.
No.
I was 15 years old. I hated it. And I was in Cleveland, which that was when Cleveland was a powerhouse. So I could go to playoff level baseball every night of the week if I wanted to.
Hell yeah.
But if you notice, and I've said this before in other episodes for people who eventually will listen, 94, 95, the invention of the internet, that's where the NFL took over as the number one sport in the country, right there when the strike happened.
Yeah,
So I want to ask you this. Is this baseball's death knell if this doesn't happen because of money? If it's COVID, it's one thing. But if this is money, is this baseball's death knell?
Yeah, no, we've talked about this. I don't think it's going to be the death, but it's a missed opportunity at the least. You know, this could have been baseball's time to shine. Like, could you imagine if baseball was the only thing cooking right now? People are watching Korean League baseball early in the morning. Could you imagine? Yeah, seriously, me too. Could you imagine if Major League Baseball, like the way they were talking about it with the different regions, the Mets playing the Yankees 30 times, whatever, the regular season ball games, the ratings would be insane. They're missing an opportunity to grow the game, get the fans, and I don't know. It's a bummer. It's a bummer all the way around.
It's an extreme bummer. And the other thing about the growing the game, now let's talk about this. Baseball is our national pastime. It's America's game. Yeah. James Earl Jones said it great in Field of Dreams. Baseball has marked the time. Could you imagine a July 4th opening day?
Sign me up.
Out of this.
Sign me up.
Baseball on the 4th of July?
Yeah, I don't think I know that was the date that they were originally passing around a couple of weeks ago, but that's a pipe dream right now. I think they're so far away with everything that I mean they're going to need they're probably going to need 2 weeks in spring training, then probably another week or two of games. I don't know. Plus you got to get the deals done. So I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, what Jeff Passan has mentioned several times, and he seems to be my go-to guy recently because Buster, unfortunately, is too much of the ESPN cog for me to even read him anymore.
Yeah.
But what Passan's saying is they have a dead date, I think, of the end of this week, so like the 5th of June, to then say to the guys, deal's done. Get to Florida, get to Texas, get to Arizona. You then have basically 4 weeks.
Yeah.
If you get them in camp by the 10th to get to a July 4th opening. Now, as Steven mentioned, we're looking at 3 10-team divisions in Florida, Texas, and Arizona/California. Of course, our biggest thing would be the Mets and Yankees are both in Florida, which means we would be going throat to throat. 25. You figure if there's 10 teams per region, you're talking about you're playing everybody 8-9 times. If you have an 82 game season.
Yeah.
So and that would give the state of New York would lose its mind if you got the Mets and Yankees that many times. And they're talking about expanding the playoffs, a universal designated hitter just for this season. On a selfish note, what Met fan wouldn't love to see Cespedes in the same lineup with Pete, with J.D. Davis, with McNeil, with Conforto? Although if they re-sign Bartolo Colon, I think you and I are of the agreement that he should be the only pitcher allowed to hit ever.
Big sexy. If you guys aren't going to let him hit, I'll let him hit in the pinstripes.
Listen. I love Bartolo.
He's the man. If you could be, how old is that guy? Is he 44?
He just turned 47.
47. He is 47 and fat. I am 36 and fat and can barely play in freaking beer league softball. This guy's 47 and fat playing in the majors. That is wild.
I'm 41 and fat with a bad back and won't even think about beer league softball. Okay, this is where we are.
47.
But here's the thing: the guy can still throw 82
Insane.
And make it dart left and right. If what was the lefty's name? If Jamie Moyer can pitch to 45, Bartolo can pitch to 50.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So let's get to what the crux of this is. And even Tom Glavine is telling the players, if this ends up being about money, you're going to lose. It doesn't matter. There are 38 million people out of work. There's 100,000 people have passed away from this insane virus. But we're talking about dollars and cents between billionaires and millionaires. They did collectively bargain what the prorated salaries were. And I don't know if you've seen it, but basically I broke it down this way. Mike Trout is supposed to make $43 million this year for this season. This is the first year of his new deal, which broke all the records. On the prorated salary, he was going to make half of that. So it's 26.5. On the new deal, he'd make 7. I think he froze. So with Mike Trout making that kind of money, as the example, they tried to level it to where the lowest paid guys got paid more on a higher rate than the higher paid guys, because everybody's going to be making different money. You've had minor leaguers from a lot of teams released this past week. You've also had minor leaguers been compensated by teams like Kansas City and Minnesota. It looks like Steve is frozen. So I'm going to go solo here till he comes back in. And he is dropped off. All right, well, if he comes back, he comes back. We'll get you back to the two of us now. But let's finish this up here. In 1994, when it was about money, the players, of course, go on strike in August. We lose the World Series for the first time since World War I. And we have to wait until the following year for the players to actually get back into camp and get back into shape to play. I really do believe this would be baseball's death knell. They have dropped not only from the ranks of the most popular, but they have dropped down to a point where the biggest media market in sports, which is ESPN, is now not in their corner. If you turn on, looks like he's coming back. If you turn on, I don't know how much you caught of that.
Yeah, sorry. My family turned on every streaming service we had in the house. Gave me the boot.
And because we've been working at home, I bought a Wi-Fi extender, so my wife's working off that in the bedroom on her thing, and I'm in here.
Nice. Yeah, well, I've been usually during the day. I've been getting by because he goes to my mom's house, but he just sat down and started playing his video games on his iPad, and it just booted me out. My bad.
No, listen, we're this is not a high-tech production.
Yeah.
So what I was saying was, I gave a little bit of. I don't know how much of the Mike Trout thing you heard.
Yeah, I heard you break it down to like to $7 million. Is that what you said for this year?
Yeah, he made about roughly $7 million for the 82 games.
Poor guy.
Now, listen, but this is what you and I are saying.
Yeah.
I understand in a contractually collective bargain thing why the players have a problem. The problem I don't think the players get is that they're going to be the bad guys in this.
Yeah.
They were the bad guys. Listen, even Glavine, and I was just saying this before, even Glavine, who was the labor guy in 94 and 95, he has said publicly, if this ends up being about money, you cannot win this fight.
Yeah. No,
especially not now.
I completely agree. This is where I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I almost feel like this is where I like the fact that baseball, obviously as a Yankee fan, I like the fact that baseball does not have a salary cap. But this is one of the scenarios where, like, when you have unlimited money, the player, like, if it was just all bargained in already, I don't know. I feel like a salary cap being around would kind of just makes life like easier when it comes to this stuff. I think that's why the other leagues kind of have an idea with it, because I think it was hockey. Hockey said the commissioner got out and like the first thing he said was, we don't have any problems about money. All of our problems are finding out on how to get the players to certain cities and hotels and playing the game. Money is not a problem in the other sports. I'm all for people getting as much money to do whatever job they're in to do it, but I know $7 million to play baseball, I'd play for $5. Like, come on, go play ball for a year. It's unprecedented times.
I agree. And listen, you and I are of the same mind on this. And the fact that I think we both can see it both ways, because something was collectively bargained in March when they shut everything down. Yeah. I see where the players are having an issue. but we didn't think we'd be going into where they'd be playing without fans.
Yeah.
And this is where the big thing is. Like, I'm wearing, this is the hat from this year, as I show my bald head off, that they did for spring training. That was $35. That part of that's getting split up between New Era, the players, and the owners.
Yeah.
People are not going to stop buying memorabilia because they're not allowed to go to the ballpark. They're not going to stop. The only thing that they're missing out on concession sales, but I'll buy 9 or 10 less $15 beers. That's fine.
Yeah.
Get me baseball on television.
Yeah.
Because they're still getting the TV money.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, do they have like a profit split or anything like that in Major League Baseball? Don't they have something?
I believe it's 60% to the players, 40% to the owners. The owners want a 50-50 split now. For this year. Now, we're also we are 10 months from the end of this collective bargaining agreement. They go back to the table in April of 21.
Yeah, what's that going to look like after all this?
That's going to be ugly because Tony Clark is a moron. The players got pretty fleeced in the last one. A lot of stuff they wanted they didn't get because Tony Clark's not a lawyer. He did a lot of things. I mean, did he play for the Yankees too?
I don't believe so. He was mainly Tigers, wasn't he?
He was Tigers. I know he played for the Mets for at least 1 year.
I feel like everybody's played for the Yankees at least 1 year in their life.
He was there in 03.
03?
He was on the he was there in 04 because he was on the we won't discuss.
Yeah.
At least not in your house.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, you know this about me. Not a lot of people do. I've been a Yankee fan since about that time. When I was a kid, growing up, my father put me on to Frank Thomas, and Frank Thomas was my guy back in the day. And we one of the local baseball teams I played on here just happened to be the White Sox, the Schenectady White Sox, and I got his number, and it all aligned. So he was my dude. And then when he retired, what year did the White Sox win the series? Was that
05? Mm-hmm.
So I started liking the Yankees. I think in 06 I started following the Yankees because in 05 when the White Sox won the World Series, I'm like, I'm not even that hyped, you know. Like I didn't really care that much. Like it was at that time I realized I'm not a White Sox fan. I was a Frank Thomas fan. And when Frank Thomas was gone, I'm like, I don't know, whatever. So my brother, I talked to my brother. He's like, just come aboard to the Yankees. He drew me up like a little application, jump fence application.
Are you serious?
Yeah, the Yankees weren't great, so he's like, come aboard. There's a 2-year ball busting probation period where he busted my stones for 2 years about switching clubs. Everybody I know, and I've been on the Yanks for about 16 years now. So
well, that's the one you tried to make me sign when I went from the Jets to the Browns. But when you realized where I went from to where I went to, you were like, "You're good."
Yeah, that's a free pass. Go ahead.
So let me ask you this: I did a full Mets breakdown for the year. Let's go through your team for a minute. Additions, subtractions, and what you thought was going to happen for this coming season. Of course, the big move was spending.
Yeah, Garrett Cole.
Yeah. I told you my concern. He's never been a true ace.
Yeah.
But then again, you're not a true ace until you go out and do it. So who knows what he would have been this year, what he will be moving forward. What did you see as the Yankees' biggest Achilles heel?
Aaron Judge's injury was scaring the hell out of me. Before all this stuff even was a thought of like COVID-19 shutting everything down, baseball not being played. Aaron Judge was already having problems on top of a year that he had problems with last year. I think Stanton was. It's just injuries. The injury bug killed him last year, but they had so much young talent that it overcame it. And I think they still had I think they still had enough talent to kind of get him through another injury-riddled year. But I don't know. If that team stayed healthy, I think if you didn't win the World Series with that squad after adding Garrett Cole, it's probably a failure. My dude on the team is Gleyber Torres. I think Gleyber Torres was in line to be MVP candidate. You know, like a step up like that. I see him as he's the dude. Like Aaron Judge is the man, but you got to stay on the field, man. Like maybe it's like he's so big and so strong, and maybe the game, maybe put him on the bench, DH him, get him out of right field. I'm not sure what the answer is, but you got to keep that guy healthy somehow.
I agree. The injuries were a big concern for me with the Yankees when I sat down. I was going to do a big full MLB preview. So the injuries were a big thing with the Yankees for me. But I tell you what the biggest one is, and that's the loss of Didi Gregorius. Because Torres has gone out and played second base. It's a far less demanding position defensively.
Yeah, I know.
Put up those numbers. Can he put it together? Now, listen, you have been very spoiled being a Yankee fan.
With shortstop.
Yeah. By the way, 64 hours of Derek Jeter on MLB Network this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Coming up, or did I miss it?
They're still going.
Oh, okay.
I think the next game they're showing is the final game at Yankee Stadium, the walk-off against Baltimore.
Sick. Of course, he walks off in his last game.
Yeah.
Guy lives a movie script. It's unbelievable.
Until he turns himself into a dumpster fire in Miami. But hey, we won't go there.
Until they win the chip under Derek Jeter's tutelage. Give him a couple years.
Dude, do you understand he traded away the last two National League MVPs and no one has seen the field?
Yeah, well, I mean, Yelich is yikes because Yelich is still an animal. But Stanton, I don't know. Stanton's is extremely underwhelming in a Yankee uniform. I don't even
high expectations for him.
Well, you get an MVP on your squad. Yeah, there's high expectations that follow that, and I don't know. The dude just strikes out way, way, way too much, and he was another one hurt too much, and I don't know. I don't remember what the Yankees gave up for him, but yeah,
Starlin Castro, a floating dumpster, and free subscription to a free bar tab at the Clevelander down at the stadium in Miami.
No, so you know what that was? Jeter had the Yankees do him a favor. They unloaded the payroll for nothing. That's all that deal was. Jeter didn't want to pay him.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on my side, I have made the joke to other Yankee fans, and I know I said it to you, that the Mets have the best pitcher in New York for a third of the cost. DeGrom's deal's 137. Multiply that by 3, and you have Garrett Cole's deal.
It's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fair. I can't argue facts.
Then again, DeGrom is also 31.
Yeah.
Came up late. We lost Syndergaard for at least this year with Tommy John.
Right, I forgot about that. See all these like stories that are just like obvious stories. I forgot about them because baseball's been such in the rears.
But the funny thing is you go out in the offseason, they added Michael Wacha and Rick Porcello to pitch 4 and 5.
Michael Wacha.
Yeah.
That dude. What year? Wasn't he like a Cy Young candidate back in like 15 or something like that? Was it that long ago?
No, 13. When they lost to the Red Sox in the World Series. He was their guy. It was his rookie year.
Just never.
He hasn't done much. He was good in St. Louis, but it seems like everybody goes to St. Louis and is good for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's just a freaking club.
Yeah, they just build them.
Yeah, that's it.
It's insane. And then they go out and they spend money on Goldschmidt, and he's an absolute monster.
Yeah. That's how you do it. You build it like that. I can't even name half of their players, and they're just all studs. It seems like every freaking year. Can you name their players? St. Louis Cardinals.
I can name 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I know they have Jose Martinez.
Yes.
They have Goldie, Colton Wong, Crawford. Dexter Fowler, the center fielder from the Cubs.
Yeah. He signed a big, what was big at the time.
Yeah. Well, that's who the Mets played opening day in 18 when I went. So I saw all those dudes. But going back to, let's talk about what baseball will be when it comes back, because I really believe they're going to get a deal done. I don't think these players are stupid enough in the social media world to not understand that they are going to get lambasted for this.
Yeah.
So you have the 10 teams in Florida, the 10 teams in Texas, the 10 teams in California / Arizona. Are you a proponent of bringing the DH to the National League too, or you like watching pitchers hit outside of Bartolo?
I would love to see it. Yeah, and I joke about that. Bartolo Colon is not pleasant to see at the plate. All right, he's had what I would consider one good at bat his entire career, and the guy's been playing for 50 years. All right, So no, all joking aside, when it comes to Bartolo Colon, no. I want to see as much talent on the field as I possibly can, and having that pitcher in the 9 hole, I don't know. I don't like it. I'd rather see I'd rather see the Cespedeses of the world get the opportunity to stack some lineups and put up some runs.
No, I hear you. And because I was a pitcher, I'm on the opposite. I mean, I understand the universal DH.
Yeah.
The baseball purist part of me doesn't want it. Then again, my pitchers can hit.
Yeah.
So it's
there's a few of them. What's the other one?
Syndergaard, Stroman can hit.
Trying to think of other pitchers. Bumgarner can hit.
Who else? Swing it.
Who else do you know of that can swing the bat?
Kershaw's not a bad stick. Greinke.
Oh, Greinke can hit.
Greinke may have the best bat flip I've ever seen because he does it every time. Every time he makes contact, he flips the bat. Every single time.
He better not get mad when people do it to him.
Oh, you know which one bothers me? Juan Soto, the way he takes a ball.
Yeah.
When I'm just like, oh, hit him. Just hit him.
See, I don't mind all that stuff, man. Go ahead, bring some fun to the game. It's all right.
The bat flips, I don't mind because if you get into one where you know it's going, flip the bat. Do it. I mean, this is before your time with the Yankees. Piazza hit one. If you remember what Shea Stadium looked like.
Oh, I've been there.
Okay, so Piazza hit one off of Ramiro Mendoza in '99 that cleared the fence, the bullpen fence, and the picnic area in left field. It landed where the upper deck at Citi Field is today.
Yeah, that's a shot.
He hit. Go look up the video. Piazza flipped the bat about 4 feet in the air.
Yeah. And that's fine. I like the comeback of if you don't want to see the guy pimp a home run or bat flip,
get him out.
Don't serve it up. Yeah,
exactly. Get him out.
Yeah, you don't beam a guy in the back the next time he comes up just because he got you. You strike him out.
Did you share the Bryce Harper fight again on Facebook when he threw the helmet at the guy?
I've shared that a couple of times. It's hysterical. I think he threw that helmet into the ground at the end on purpose. I think like a small part of his brain was like, hey, don't hit this dude in the head with a helmet.
I agree with you, but It's Harper. He's not exactly the brightest crayon in the box.
Yeah, but he's a world-class athlete. You're telling me 3 feet away he can't hit a guy with a helmet if he really wanted to? He grounded that thing.
He could have hurt. So when they come back, I keep saying it, but when they come back, they're also talking about expanded playoffs. So you're talking 4 teams from each region are going to play. I got to be honest with you, looking at it, I can see our boys playing each other in a postseason type atmosphere.
Yeah.
Now, wrap your head around this and what your opinion would be. Imagine by that time they're able to come north. And you have a 7-game series to get to the series between the Mets and the Yankees.
Yeah. The dialer on that, the ratings on that would be sky high.
Oh, my God.
Sky high.
Just look at the ratings of postseason games in New York in general. I mean, the World Series, the Mets and the Royals wasn't the sexiest matchup, but they were up there because it was in New York.
Yeah.
So last question for you, because we're coming up on that half hour. I told you I would monopolize your time. Plus, you have.
No, you're fine. The kid can stay off his iPad for a few minutes. It's allowed.
Good dad move. Wait till they're 16. Wait till he's 16 and he's asking you for keys to a car instead of an iPad.
I'll give him a car. I'll give him a nice little $600 beater like I had back in the day.
My first car that was mine was a Chevy Celeb wagon.
Chevy Celeb. I had an 87 Nissan Stanza that didn't have a handle on the driver's side. You had to get into the driver's side through the passenger door.
That's awesome.
You had to crawl across.
And the Stanza had a gear shift. The shifter was on in the middle, right?
Ugly. Yes. Yeah.
But it gave you character, Steve.
Yeah. That's what it's called. My character.
So, anyways, going back to we're getting off topic here. The game in general. We always hear. I had mentioned ESPN is off the mainstream of baseball. They really don't care anymore. You look at their morning and afternoon shows, and it's Mike Greenberg and 4 dudes from the NFL and 2 dudes from the NBA. Outside of some pace of play stuff, is there anything you think they could do to make themselves more popular again besides actually play this season?
I was just going to say play. Because if they started playing like in a couple of weeks, Mike Greenberg and those other dudes, that would be Mike Greenberg and right, Mark Teixeira and whoever else is on the ESPN cast talking about baseball, building the game. I don't the pace of play stuff doesn't really bother me because I'm a baseball fan. I don't care if a
Yeah.
game is a half hour longer because they're making pitching moves. I actually like pitching moves,
Me too.
especially when you get into playoffs and you have those specialized dudes coming out of the bullpen. It adds something to the game for me.
Throwing a buck 10 apiece.
What's that?
Throwing a buck 10 apiece.
Yeah. What the hell? Why not? Bring them in. The pace of game doesn't bother me. I really do. I don't understand having it's two different sets of rules in two different leagues in the same game. There's not another sport that has its sport broken up that doesn't have the same set of rules across the board. I don't like the no DH in the NL. I want that DH. I think it does screw with the World Series a little bit when you get into the no DH and having the different rules and depending on whose ballpark you're playing in, it messes with the team's lineups. And if you just went universal, I think it'd just be better for the game.
See, I'm starting to come over to that side of the fence a little bit.
Yeah.
As far as the pace of play thing goes, you and I also talk the NFL at times. I'm still wondering why people who seem to be smart in the media think that a game that has an hour time limit that takes 3.5 hours to play is more fun than a game that has no time limit that can sometimes take as little as 2.5 to sometimes, a day and a half.
Yeah.
The example I gave someone on another episode was if you and your family were going somewhere, you and your other half, and she told you it was going to take you an hour and it took you 3.5, but she didn't tell you how long it was going to take and it took you 2, what's going to piss you off more?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, she told me to take an hour and it took 3.5. So you just described the NFL and Major League Baseball.
Yeah. No,
Why does it take you off?
Yeah, no, I'm completely with you. That's just I think that's something that people who aren't pure or don't have like a love for the game. It's just their gripe. They don't like the TV commercials, the constant stops at, when you get into 6th, 7th, and 8th, 9th innings.
I hear you. So you're more universal DH. You're the offensive guy. Me being the pitching guy. I actually like the DH for this reason.
Yeah.
We would start to see starters go deeper into games, I think.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to worry about the double switch. You wouldn't have to worry about wondering, oh, I got to bring this arm in to face this guy, but he's 0 for 3 against my starter.
Yeah. Where's
the difference going to be? I like the DH not for a pace of play. I like the DH for the arms more than anything else.
The other thing that I was going to say too with the baseball and what I'd like to see changed is part of this pains me because I was never on this bandwagon with the umpires and the strike zones. We got the technology. Why are we leaving it up to these older guys standing behind the plate trying to call balls and strikes with these dudes pumping 100 miles an hour and 90-mile-per-hour sliders? They have no idea. Some of the times they're guessing. If we have the technology and it won't slow anything down, just go to the electronic strike zones.
See, I'm with you to a point on that. And the point I'm with you is this. I do like the human factor.
Yeah, until your team gets screwed.
I root for the Mets and the Browns, Steve.
I know. But let's have this conversation next year if or when the Mets play and say the Mets get into the series and they get hosed on a bad strike 3 call. You're going to think differently.
You ready?
Yeah.
How about Subway Series 2006?
Oh, you already got it.
At Yankee Stadium. Hold on. You ready? Carlos Delgado's home run hits the foul pole down the left field line. They called it a foul ball.
Yeah, it's silly.
It's extremely silly. But now we have instant replay where we can fix those things.
Yeah, and that's I like that.
Why not, instead of go to the robot strike zone, for lack of a better term, why not hold the dudes accountable for being just terrible?
Yeah, but then what do you do? Because it's going to happen. Like, dudes are going to miss calls. It's human.
I'm not saying missed calls. I'm saying Angel Hernandez missed calls.
Yeah.
I'm saying you are so inconsistent, you need to go to school. Or you need to be in Secaucus in the replay booth for a month. And then you can go back out on the road. Obviously, don't take anybody's livelihood from them.
Yeah.
But be like, okay, this guy has this many people thrown out per year because of a bad strike zone. Why are we still letting him call balls and strikes?
Yeah. I
So
say just throw it out. Just throw it out. Like I still want umpires in the field. Obviously making the judgment calls and the plays at the fair foul calls, the plays at the different bases. But like you can set it up so easily where if you don't need an umpire. Well, actually, you can still have the umpire back there for plays at the plate. Still put an umpire back there if you want to see it. And you know what? If you'd like to see the umpire do his thing, then have the umpire have a buzzer in his pocket or something that says, "Hey, that's a strike. That's a ball," and he can call it like that. You know what I mean?
how about instead of behind the plate? Did you ever umpire, or when you played youth ball, you had the umpire behind
The pitcher.
Okay,
Yeah.
have him there, and he's also got second base. And instead of having a plate umpire making the fair and foul calls, put somebody down the line every day, like they have in the postseason.
Yeah.
Down the lines, the one guy in the middle, and then first and third.
Yeah, it won't hurt. I don't mind any of that. I don't. I'm not as. I don't. Those calls can be fixed with the rule with the challenges.
Yeah.
You can fix those calls. You can't fix a bad strike three call. Or even like I'm not even just talking about the strike three calls. Strike two calls. A bad strike two call can change a count and just completely alter it back and screw everything up. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the balls and strikes, man. I don't like it. If you have the ability, just do it.
Especially since dudes are getting run for arguing.
Yeah, and there you go. You want to fix pace of play too, because now you're not going to. What manager is going to come out and actually? I think there was one. Wasn't there a manager in the minor leagues last year that argued balls and strikes with the robot?
I think he did. I think he did it because he felt like it.
Yeah,
I'm surprised it wasn't Wally Backman.
just wanted to be the first.
He wanted to be the guy to get thrown out. Although
I assume that won't happen as much as it does now, so that could also fix the pace.
The only time I can see needing a home plate umpire is like it was 4 years ago yesterday when Syndergaard threw behind Chase Utley and got run immediately. And
Yes.
of course, Terry Collins with that epic rant.
I was watching that actually on Facebook the other day. It came up on my timeline. I don't know if maybe you shared it or somebody else shared it, but that umpire did a great job at kind of de-escalating that.
The umpire who de-escalated it, his name is Tom Halley, and he's from Saugerties.
Tom, yes. I remember Terry calling him Tom, yeah.
So I remember watching that game and hearing Joe Buck and Dwight Gooden go, did they just throw him out?
I don't remember what led up to that. I'm sure you do.
He broke Ruben Tejada's leg in the playoffs.
Oh, the slide.
Or the tackle.
All right. I'm piecing that together now. All right. Yeah. Chase Utley, man. We'll talk about a freaking dirtbag.
It is bad when Yankee fans and Met fans can agree on something.
Yeah, that's not Chase Utley's first rodeo with stuff like that.
And listen, there are certain players that I have always said need a good one in the ribs.
Yeah.
He's one of them.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to argue that.
No one will.
No.
That was that game 3 when that place was chanting, and like 50,000 New Yorkers are screaming, "We want Utley," and Donnie Baseball wouldn't give him to him.
He's smart.
That is the first time I looked at myself in the mirror and went, "Man, Don Mattingly is not a stupid man. He played in this. He knows
what's going to happen."
Oh yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Well, listen, I want to put a bow on this with one final question for you.
Okay.
And this is just me as a Met fan asking a Yankee fan this. You are down to your final, you need one win to get a championship. And you've been there more recently, obviously, than I have.
Mm-hmm.
You have 3 choices to throw on the bump. And this is all-time Yankee pitchers. I'm not going with, you could pick Cole, DeGrom, or Syndergaard. I'm not going to be that guy.
All right.
You got 3 choices.
You want me to name 3 Yankee pitchers I would take?
No, I'm going to give you the 3, and I want you to pick one.
Oh, okay. All right. I already have it in my head.
Andy
I hope
Pettitte.
you said Eddie Pettit. You don't even have to say anymore.
I was going to say Whitey Ford. I was going to say Idiot or Andy Pettitte. And you know who Idiot is, too.
Pettit. It's always Pettit, and I'll never forget. I got into I think I forgot.
Oh.
No, it was Cliff Lee. You probably don't know. Yeah, that's fine. Andy Pettit. Yeah. I got into an argument with a sports radio guy up here who was talking about, I think it was when they were playing the Phillies and Cliff Lee was lights out back then. And he was talking about the Phillies had, I think it was the Phillies. It had to have been the Phillies. The Phillies having the Phillies having the best postseason pitcher of all time, and just not even bringing up Andy Pettitte. And I jump on the radio, and we went at it for about 10 minutes. I'm like, Sinkoff, you have part of his name was Brian Sinkoff. I'm like,
that was you?
Yeah. I'm like, you have the verbiage down. You're correct. The greatest postseason, most clutch postseason pitcher is pitching tonight. He's on the Yankees. It's Andy freaking Pettitte.
Oh, see, somebody asked me that question with the Mets. And, of course, my first pick would have been Seaver.
Yeah.
But do you want to hear something funny? Kuzman's got a better postseason record.
Really?
Kuzman was 2-0 in the 69 World Series, plus his start in the NLCS.
Yeah.
He won his only start in the LCS in 73, and he won his start in the World Series that year. The guy hasn't lost in the postseason. Seaver's only won one game.
I mean, you're obviously going to know those teams a little bit better than I am.
Yeah.
Did Seaver have the backup that Kuzman had, or
Seaver? Well, Seaver tangled with guys like
Seaver, man.
Dude, him and Catfish Hunter hooked up in 73, and it was not even cool.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, the four guys he gave me were Seaver, Kuzman, Gooden, and DeGrom. And I'm thinking to myself, I actually picked Kuzman just because of that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, think about the Baltimore team he beat to win that World Series.
Who was that?
Robinson, Frank Robinson. They had Davey Johnson, the old Met manager, was their second baseman. He hit 40 bombs that year.
Here, you want to see something funny? This is my kid begging me to get back. Oh, he left. Go ahead, kid. Can I get back? Can I get back on the iPad? Hey, buddy, come here real quick. Who's your favorite baseball team? Yell out your favorite baseball team. Get out. He said Red Sox. Get out. Get out. Yes, buddy. I'm almost done.
Mom sent him in with that. That was a narc job.
Terrible. That is like the biggest failure of my life. In a life full of failures, that's the biggest one.
Dude, my kids aren't even into baseball.
The Red Sox.
The older one likes to fish, and the younger one's a runner and a swimmer. They don't even do baseball.
I'd rather he didn't.
Listen, now, if either one of them ever said the word Michigan in my house, then we'd be fighting. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for doing this, and I know I've been trying to get you to do something with this for the last couple of years since I had it. It's been an absolute blast.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you something else. You had a buddy who does a podcast up there. He's doing charity things.
Yeah.
What's the name of that show? Because I'm going to tweet out this podcast, and I'm going to try and get him some more traction.
Yeah, it's not an actual show. He's been going. So he works in Amsterdam Fire Department up here, and they're one of their head honcho guys. I'm not sure they have different battalions. I think they're called. One of the higher ups he passed away of COVID-19. So yeah, they started doing. He started running it actually started out. They did the mustache thing. They were going to do no mustaches. Everybody put money in a pot, and it was all going to go towards this guy's favorite charity. And it kind of people started donating. So this guy Chris Yeager, he's a good dude. He's played on my softball team for probably 5 or 6 years. He used to pitch professionally in Canada, and he's got a ton of connections. One of them is he plays in some Yankees Legends tournament every year, and he's pretty good friends with Charlie Hayes. So his first one, he had Charlie Hayes on, and nice. They raised. I was on there, and I asked Charlie Hayes. I asked him, Charlie, what were you thinking when that ball was coming down? And he said,
"Oh, in '95."
Yeah, I asked him, were you concerned about dropping? He said, hell no, I wasn't concerned about dropping. I'm a professional ball player. I can catch that. He said he wanted to go. He was thinking about Disney World as the ball was coming down.
Great.
So yeah, he's having some dudes on. He had Doc Gooden on. He just had a couple of football players on. I forget the names. A couple local guys who played in the NFL, and they're auctioning off some stuff. I can throw you if you give me 2 seconds, I might be able to find. His name's Chris Yeager. You can find him on. Oh, here it is, Chris. Yeah, he's actually on right now with. Matt. Starting Pete Schrock. Who is that? Pete Schrock.
Pete Sherrick.
Shurik, 1995 Cy Young runner-up, Pete Shurik. Yeah, he's on there with him right now.
Pete
I don't know
Shurik
if
is a great pitcher.
Yeah. So they're doing he's doing his thing.
Got a Yankee hat?
No, that's Yeager. That's great.
You got a Yankee hat and a Mets t-shirt?
No, that's Chris Yeager. That's my boy Yags.
That's awesome.
He is wearing a Yankee hat with a Mets t-shirt though.
Pete Shurik was part of Generation K. It was him. It was Paul Wilson. It was Isringhausen.
Yeah.
But yeah, Pete Shurik, he was a great pitcher. Oh, I loved watching Pete Shurik go.
Isringhausen. Hey, I'm trying to find the. Yeah, no, I'll get you the information. You can share it on the next one. That's all right.
Oh, that'll be great.
Yeah.
So, listen, Steve, again, thank you so much. I'm going to do my little bit of house cleaning as I sign off. As always, Big Rican on Sports can be found on Google, on Spotify, on Pocket Cast, Breaker, Radio Public, Anchor, YouTube, Big Rican on Sports, Facebook, Big Rican on Sports, my personal Twitter handle at Big Rican on Sport, and now we're on Instagram, Big Rican on Sports. Steve, again, thank you so much. Here's to 2020 baseball. I have had a blast. Oh, right? And I'm going to end it by saying this to you. I'll see you in the series.
Yeah, you wish.
Take care. Have a good night.
All right, take it easy.
Bye.